thank you to all that's watched my previous video on how I set up the Helix Stadium for touring with Natalie Imbruglia. Since then, I've been quite honest how I feel the showcase feature isn't quite tour ready for my workflow. So for now, I'm going to give it some more time to let the firmware updates roll out, and I'm sure everything will get sorted very soon. Since then, Line 6 has actually got in touch and asked if I could help them out ironing out some of the issues. Hopefully help improve the units for everyone else like me that's spent their hard-earned cash on this beast of a unit. If you haven't seen that video yet, I'll link it up here. I also want to say a huge thank you to all the positive comments and engagement I received. I'm very new to doing this YouTube thing and putting myself out there in this format and in this way, so your support really means a lot to me. Ultimately, I want to make content that I wish I had when I was up and coming, so hopefully the videos that I make will provide some value to you. A lot of you have asked for my global settings, how I assign my foot switches for different shows. So this is what this video is about. So I'm going to demonstrate two types of setups that I use. These first lot of settings is what I use 90% of the time for artists like Natalie Imbruglia and Busted. It involves working with backing tracks, the set list is predetermined and the tempo is locked to the track. So to start off with, I have a preset for each song. So as you can see, I've been busy programming for the Natalie Imbruglia tour coming up, so I've got a different preset for each song. So the way I have it is, on the bottom row, I have the song sections. As you can see, there's an intro swell, pre-chorus, riff, which is a little lead line that I play in the pre-chorus, but I named it riff because I know what it is. A mid-8 strum and a solo, which is the outro, the famous slide solo. And on the top row, I programmed it to preset up and down so I can easily switch between songs when the song finishes. And this is from when I was messing around with Showcase, but since the Showcase isn't ready to be used yet, I'm going to unassign these. So I just go to Command Center and, oh, this is something to talk about. I used the blank page in Stomp B, and that allows me to customize any pedal to wherever I want, which I found a lot more flexible. So I've been using that, and in the Command Center, you can assign whatever you want to each stomp. So at the moment, I have the Showcase, play, go back a marker, and go forward a marker, which I'm not going to use anymore. Well, not for now anyway. So I can just clear those commands. So I just click on them, or double tap, clear command, double tap, clear command. So those are empty. So any stomps that I'm not using, I like to disable them. That is to stop me accidentally stepping on them and switching to something which I'm not even using. This is especially important when I'm singing backing vocals. Quite often when a new section comes in, say a chorus, I come in with a new guitar part, I do pedal change, and I come in with a backing vocal. And when I'm singing to backing vocal, it's really hard to look down at the pedal boards. As I'm leading up to that new section, I have my foot hovering over the switch that I'm about to make. All I have to do is just press it down and sing, and hopefully I'll be pressing the right switch. With the Helix Stadium, the stomp switches are slightly closer than what I'm used to with the Kemper. So potentially there's more room for errors. So just for demonstration purposes, say if I didn't need that middle 8 strum on a certain patch that I have, I will disable it. So I'll go into Command Center, click on that, and clear commands. And now you see that it's gone. So I just basically have these ones and that won't do anything. So even if I accidentally step on it, nothing will happen. I often have the solo away from everything else because the solo sound is quite intense. So when I press on the solo stomp, I need it to be purposeful. It's quite a bit louder than the other stomps, and it'll be a bit of a nasty surprise if I accidentally step on that. This is quite a nice feature of the Helix Stadium, which I'd never had before inbuilt. So if I click Info, I've written some notes referring to the song. These are notes I actually taken when I was learning the song, so it's a bit messy, but it's got F slide on pinky, which is to remind me of which is to remind me where I put my slide, because there's certain songs I put a slide on a different finger. The BPM, the structure, when I was learning the chords. But the main thing I use it for is actually the lyrics. Oh, this is actually the wrong song, so I need to sort that out. But say this is a song called Wishing I Was There. But as you can see, just for demo, I got the lyrics written down. So just before the heat of battle and I have a bit of a memory blank, I can just quickly look into it and have a little sing-song in my own head and remind myself what the song is about. So this kind of setup is built for consistency, accuracy, and kind of my mental bandwidth, really. And I want to make it so obvious what I need to do when I switch patches and eliminate any room for errors. It's to help me focus on the performance and get rid of any of that tap dancing business. So now I'm going to switch to the other setup which I use. So for the last few years, I've been playing with a band called Scouting for Girls, which is an indie band based in the UK. People in the UK will probably know Scouting for Girls for their song She's So Lovely. With Scouting for Girls, there are just 4 guys on stage. There are no backing tracks. We all follow Roy, the lead singer, with terms of song arrangement, what song is going to be played next, and set list. Sometimes mid-song, he'll decide to run into the crowd and start a conga line, and we have to keep vamping the sections and kind of follow his cue for when we come back in. Like I said, there's no backing tracks, so we all follow the drummer for tempo, and if he gets a bit excited, it speeds up and slows down. I love this style of playing, and it is how a lot of musicians started, just with their mates, just in a room, just hitting it out, not even thinking about computers. So the way I got this set up are 5 different snapshots at the bottom, all pretty much rising in gain level, as well as the 4 different snapshots of gain levels: cleanish, overdrive, distortion, and my solo. I included a swell stomp because I'm a big fan of volume swells, especially to use in the more melancholy breakdowns, for example. And in the top row, I have quick access to stomps. So delay and reverb, I have it merged to one stomp if I want more of an ambient sound. And then I have a tremolo, which I use in a song called James Bond. And this is a cheeky feedbacker, which I mentioned in my previous video. I use about once or twice during the set, but I wasn't able to use it previously with the Kemper. It didn't have that feature, so this is quite fun for me to include. So if I want to sustain the note, I color coded the stomps depending on the gain. As you can see, a bit more yellow for cleanish, and it goes more red as the more naughty that it goes. So just to foolproof it even more. So this preset is what I use for the entire show. And to change the tempo of the delays or the, say, tremolo or whatever modulation you want to use, I just tap tempo it on the fly. Like I said, I'll be following the drummer and his tempo might change and I will just adjust to him. Originally, I experimented with the combination modes, which kind of does the same thing. It assigns the snapshots and then some customized stomps at the top. But I couldn't figure out at the time how to really move these around. The stomp B page was originally blank. And so I just went into the command center and you could customize it to whatever you want, which is super handy, and it just allows me full control. As you can see, I put my presets up there so I don't accidentally step on them, and allows me more room for the bottom row. So if I press on that one there, you could change it to whatever you want right there, which is super, super handy. So here's a little bonus tip. With Scouting for Girls, I mentioned there's just 4 guys on stage and there's no backing track. The guitars need to fill out a wider spectrum of space. So for my first setup earlier, quite often the front of house will have to EQ the bottom end at my guitar to allow room for the backing tracks and all the other synths and strings or whatever is going on in the background. And my guitar will sound quite thin, isolated, but in a mix, it just works great. But without backing track and there's 4 guys on stage, you want the guitar to sound pretty big and to fill up that spectrum. So I haven't had the chance to gig this preset live yet with Scouting for Girls, but this is pretty much essentially a replica of what I had on my Kemper. The front of house will often ask me to boost the lower mids and the bottom end. There is a bass player in the band and there is a keys player, but some tracks where there isn't keys, I need to fill out more of that space. So at the moment it sounds like this. Tasty G chords, and I'll probably put a bit of a shelf, low shelf and low mids, say around there. Bit more extreme. And it really helps just glue that empty space between the guitar and the bass. How much gain I use will depend on the venue, and I'll work with the front of house to get that level right. Ultimately, the front of house will thank you because they have to do as little work as possible. This setup is about feel and flexibility and allows me to react in real time as opposed to following a very strict script. Hopefully this gives you a clear idea how I set my Helix Stadium up for different types of touring, gigging situations and why my setup changes depending on the type of gig it is. If you're interested in these presets, I'm currently in the process of setting up a download page on my website, which should be live soon. Apart from using the Helix Stadium live, I also love using it in the studio. I have one more preset loaded up with weird and wonderful sounds, including different overdrives, pitch effects, stereo modulations and delays. It's purely designed for writing inspiration and jamming. I'll showcase this preset in a video coming soon, so if it's of interest, feel free to subscribe, hit the bell notification, and you'll see the video when it comes out. As always, let me know in the comments below if there's anything else you'd like me to break down, whether it's global EQ, more of a deep dive into snapshots, or anything else Helix Stadium related. Cheers!